Today, let's talk about a really powerful idea from the book, The Illness Narratives by physician and anthropologist Arthur Kleinman.
I mean, it's a question we all run into, right? It could be chronic pain or that deep kind of burnout, maybe a persistent anxiety that just never seems to leave. What on earth do you do with that?
Okay, so for most of us, our gut reaction is to fight it, right? We declare war on the problem. But here's the thing. What if that very first move is the one that guarantees we lose? Just think about it for a second. If you have an acute problem, say a broken bone, the strategy is super straightforward. Attack it, fix it, move on. It's a fight you can actually win. But when we're up against something chronic, like migraines or that gnawing burnout or any long-term struggle, we try to use that exact same aggressive strategy. And what happens? We end up totally exhausted, frustrated, and just locked in this constant state of war with ourselves. And this leads to a really crucial insight. It's the constant struggle, that endless fight against what's happening. That's what's actually creating the deepest layer of our misery. See, the real problem isn't just the pain. It's the unwinnable war we're waging against it. So if fighting is the wrong move, how do we stop? Well, it all starts with this simple but honestly profound mental shift. And it's all about understanding the huge difference between pain and suffering. And this right here, this is the game changer. Think of pain as just the raw sensation, the actual electrical signal in your nerves or that tightness in your chest. Some level of pain in life is pretty much inevitable. But suffering? Oh, suffering is totally different. Suffering is the story we tell ourselves about the pain. It's that whole narrative of this is unfair, frustration, despair. And that story, that's the part that's optional.
This is really the heart of it all. You might not be able to get rid of the pain, but you can stop creating the suffering. It's like, think about the discomfort you feel during a really tough workout. You know it's making you stronger, so you don't suffer from it. Now compare that to a mysterious back pain that you decide is a sign your whole life is falling apart. The sensation might be similar, but the stories, worlds apart. And where does all that suffering come from? It's almost always fueled by one single thought. This shouldn't be happening. You know that voice in your head? The one that says, this isn't fair, or I can't take this anymore, or this has to stop right now. That's our expectation clashing with reality. And when reality doesn't bend to our will, which, let's be honest, with chronic stuff, it rarely does, we just pile on this whole second layer of mental anguish right on top of the original pain. Okay, so if fighting is out, what's in? What do we do instead? Well, we do something that sounds almost too simple, but it's incredibly powerful. We shift from being a fighter to being an observer, kind of like a curious scientist of our own experience. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. Step 1, you just drop the goal of trying to make the feeling disappear. Just for a second, you let it be there. Then, step 2, you get curious about it. You actually turn towards the sensation, not away from it. And finally, step 3, you just describe it. No judgment, just pure observation, like a scientist taking field notes. So you start asking these very neutral scientific questions, like where is it exactly? If it had a shape, what would it be? Is it a sharp, stabbing feeling or more of a dull, heavy ache? Does it have a clear edge? Does it pulse or is it just constant? Remember, you're not analyzing it to beat it. You're just mapping its territory. And the moment you start doing this, something pretty incredible happens. You realize the one who's observing isn't the one who's in pain. You create this little bit of space between you and the sensation. The pain might still be there, sure, but it's no longer consuming your entire identity. It becomes something you're experiencing, not something you are. And look, this whole observer model, it's not just for physical pain. You can use this for almost any long-term challenge you're facing. It's like a navigator's toolkit, not a soldier's weapon. So for chronic pain, what does this look like? It means you stop trying to force a normal day, and instead, you start having a smart day. You learn its rhythms. When does it flare up? When does it ease off? You use that information to plan your life with the pain, not constantly get blindsided by it. Or what about burnout? That feeling of just being completely wiped out. Stop beating yourself up for not having more energy. Instead, just accept your current capacity. Think of your energy like a finite budget. Then you can ask, okay, what's the most important thing I can spend this on today?
You become a master of allocating your energy, not a master of self-criticism. And this even works for the pain of stigma or shame. That awful feeling that something's wrong with you. The model is the same. First, just observe that feeling without piling on judgment. Then, you can choose a new action. So instead of hiding, which just feeds the shame, you can maybe find just one other person who understands. Because connection is the ultimate antidote to that story that you're all alone in this. So where do you even start with all this? It really boils down to one simple, tiny change in how you react in the moment. And that's it. That's the whole thing. The next time that old, familiar feeling shows up, whether it's pain or anxiety or just exhaustion, your only job is to pause. Just pause. Don't immediately launch the counterattack. Don't get sucked into the story about how awful it all is. Just for a few seconds, switch from fighter to observer. Just notice. That single act of noticing, without judging it, that is the first real step to taking your life back from the battle.